This video started when Digital Extremes teased this image about their next dev stream coming in just a couple of days. Some said that this was a new Heirloom skin for Ivara, but the reality is, if you have watched other streams from the developers, then you already know that this is the early deluxe skin, and the developers are hinting that this might also come in the upcoming Jade Shadows update. But to be honest, it really looks like an Ivara deluxe skin, but I was thinking differently when I saw this picture. I was really curious about Jade's powers, as she might be one of the most broken warframes in the game, if she will be lore accurate. I said this because the moment I saw the picture, I thought that it was the Myrmidon from the Levirian, because I was so fascinated with what type of power the new warframe named Jade will have. Again, I am not saying that it's the Myrmidon, and we all know that it's the yearly deluxe skin. Of course, Digital Extremes will be announcing a new set of Heirloom skin, which we will also talk about later. Right now, I would like you to focus on the Myrmidon, Jade's power, and why this will be broken in Warframe. According to the Levirian, the Myrmidon was described as a preternatural beast figure, a villain that primarily hunts Warframes. Further readings of Levirian entries reveal that the Ivara Warframe under Orokin control, unlike our Tenno control, managed to defeat this creature after witnessing the deaths of her two Warframe comrades at his hands. The Myrmidon was depicted as a beast or individual who wielded a wrist-worn device of Orokin origin, enabling him to disintegrate Warframes with a mere touch. The Myrmidon took advantage of the confusion to leap upon the hapless frame and press a palm to the warrior's head. In lurid detail, Porvis describes a flash of the most scintillating emerald light, and Ivara's battle sibling collapsed to hot dust, as quoted in the Levirian entry. This Orokin wrist device also allowed the Myrmidon to disable Warframe powers from a distance with just a gesture. Reacting, Ivara whirled and promptly vanished. But one clutching gesture in her direction and Ira's powers fled, her cloaking field nullified. Just by reading the Levirian entry, you will mistake the Myrmidon with the violence acolyte that serves the Shadow Stalker, but in reality, it's a different identity controlled by the Orokin to be their punisher. Now, if you have been paying attention to the video, then you will notice the Orokin tile set I am playing. In this tile set, you can spot a room which is called the Council of Executors Judicial Chamber. It was also hinted by Nora in the Nightwave that in the past, this room might have been used by the Orokin judges called the Seven to execute defectors with one single flash of light, which we also might know as the Jade Light. The lore says that the Jade Light was used by the Orokin as a means of executing defectors and those who opposed the law. Although we do not know the specifics of the Jade Light, we can safely assume that it was some sort of disintegration ray that turned the accused into nothing but mist and gore. The Orokin were known for their cruel, unjust, and ruthless punishments. It is also implied the Orokin could wield the Jade Light in man-portable weapons, as seen with the Myrmidon. What if, in the upcoming Jade Shadows update, we finally get to see the form of a Myrmidon in the name of Jade, and she got the power not just to support the team, but also to disintegrate enemies with the Jade Light. However, this theory is contradicting though, as the Warframe is described as having abilities that carry a holy light and song aesthetic with a focus on ally support and debuffing enemies. We can't confirm right now that Jade might be wielding the Jade Light, but during the recent dev short, Steve may have unintentionally given us a spoiler of the upcoming Jade of Shadows quest. So here's the clip wherein they talked about the Jade Light.
We're past May. May 1st is tomorrow for T Prime. May 15th is Nightwave. Now we're into June with Jade Shadows, which is a mainline update, which is an update in which you will have new frame, new quest, clan operation Belly of Beast.
Clan operation?
Yep.
Excellent.
And then game of new Eximus type. The Jade Light Eximus.
Oh, yes.
Do you think it's going to kill you in one shot? Will you just disintegrate?
Well, if it's lore accurate, maybe it should.
The lore. I'm joking. Lore is very important. I would never betray it.
Well, I may be nitpicking here, but there was also a previous stream in which the developer said that both Eximus units and Jade will have a connection with the Jade Light. Although I'm kind of curious about what Space Mom said about disintegrating, or one-shotting you with the new Jade Light from Eximus is true. I'm very excited if somehow the new Warframe also has the power to wield the Jade Light. I'm also happy that somehow Digital Extremes might be starting to release updates that are Orokin and Sentient related later on this year. They have said themselves that their next priority is continuing the new war, so we will most likely be treated with stuff related to Sentients and Orokins, and honestly I think this will be good for the game, as when they released Duviri Paradox, Warframe become more confusing than ever, as it felt a different story, especially because before Duviri Paradox we have the new war quest line. Now, getting back to the Jade Light Eximus, some players are kind of scared that Digital Extremes will mess up things in the upcoming Jade Shadows update. As I have said, the developers hinted that both Jade and the new Eximus will have a connection to the Jade Light, and people are scared that this effect is like the Jade Light in the lore, which will deal instant death to players. If this happens, then expect that there will be lots of players players whining about this crazy mechanic. I really hate it sometimes when Digital Extremes drop these things that make me speculate, because sometimes I am overthinking and get too excited about what will change in the game. The worst is that we will get a permadeath mechanic with the Jade Light Eximus, but I doubt Digital Extremes will be going this route. The best bet is that Jade Light Eximus will have a purification effect, just like the status removal we have on several Warframes. This will somehow mess up the viral and corrosive stacking, and as well as damage over time that we deal with enemies while the new Eximus is around. However, I can't deny the fact that the instant death mechanic excites me, and I don't think that it would be that terrible since we have shield gating that triggers an invulnerability period once our shield has been depleted. The instant death would be terrible for Warframes like Nidus and Inaros though, and this is another reason why I think the Jade Light we have in the lore will not be the same as the Jade Light that the developers are talking about for the new Eximus unit. It's really a crazy theory, and this all started when the developers were spewing some words about the Jade Light in lore, which leads me to think that they'll be adding an instant death mechanic or even giving Jade the same ability. Nonetheless, I am super excited on the upcoming update as it will feature someone who opposed the Stalker. It would be cool to see the side of the Stalker being the hunted and not always the Warframe being the hunted. Finally, let's talk about the new Heirloom that Digital Extremes will be announcing in the next dev stream. The first Heirloom collection got a lot of controversies, and players were dissatisfied on these new cosmetics that Digital Extremes are selling for real money at first. Players were saying that the Heirloom collection is the worst, most predatory thing that the developer has done so far, and the worst thing they could do on their most important day of the year. The player further criticized Digital Extremes for betraying the community's trust, locking new cosmetics behind a high paywall, and creating a fear of missing out due to the limited availability. Others pointed out that for the price of the Heirloom collection, players could buy an entirely new game like Baldur's Gate 3 and still save money. And some are labeling the collection as much too expensive, stating as truly beautiful as the skins and accessories are, locking it all behind such expensive tiers feels exceptionally egregious. I just hope that Digital Extremes have learned their lesson in the next Heirloom collection, and while we don't exactly know who are the two Warframes which will get the new Heirloom, I'm guessing that it will be Ember and Rhino. I think it would be a good decision to release an Ember Heirloom right now after Frost. Another reason is that Ember is one of those Warframes that have been vaulted for a long time, and players would want the Warframe to be unvaulted not just because of the Prime variant, but also the Prime weapon it's bundled with, the Glaive Prime. In the case of Rhino, it's just really a wild guess, as it would be a great counterpart for the female starter Warframe mag. But then again, take this thing with a grain of salt, because I'm only guessing based on how Digital Extremes release stuff in my own opinion. I don't want to get super hyped, but the Jade Shadows update really have great things to offer, and it's like the Whispers in the Walls update that got some chunky bits of features and changes, which will somehow allow players to have a different experience playing Warframe. Also, there are other things like new augments that will come in the upcoming Jade Shadows update, but I would love to talk about them in a separate video. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and we hope to see you again in our next video. Squad Leader, signing off.